Young G's starting their own off-brand sets and shit. That shit out of bounds.
You better ask somebody.
Yo, what's the deal, YouTube? We're back, episode 3, the Still Slippin podcast. It's me, OYGlaylo, my man Paula Jones. On this episode, man, we've been waiting for this episode, man. It's gonna be the topic of off-brands, right? Like, what is the off-brand? So I'm gonna let Jones tell y'all guys about what an off-brand is in the GTA street gang community.
Why we talk about off-brands. The ballers in Grove Street, they talk about off-brands. They talk about off-brand sets. So I don't know what they mean by it, but my interpretation of it is an off-brand is not an official set. So you saw in episode 2 we had the official sets. An off-brand would be not one of those. There's certain levels to off-brand. If you look at it like a pyramid, then you've got at the top is someone who's close to an official but still an off-brand, and then at the bottom of the pyramid is an off-brand, a big off-brand, like totally off-brand, whatever.
Like Jamestown rental game, somebody like that, right?
So say the pyramid's got like say 5 levels. I would personally put Jamestown in the middle at level 3, and because at least they're still named after a street in Los Santos, so that's, you know, a little bit of credibility at least.
Yeah, boy!
Whereas, say, the bottom of the pyramid would be a crew that's totally unrelated to Los Santos, like IGN, for example. By calling themselves Jamestown, would have their intention is to fight maybe other street gangs. You know, yeah, they didn't shoot guns much. They used to use RPGs and stuff, but they wanted to have street wars.
Okay, let me jump in. All right, so my view on off-brands and fams, we never really used that term. We just, you know, it was like, I don't know, non-factors, I guess, but you had, I don't know, we just never tossed the off-brand word around. But I would say for me, an off-brand is basically anybody that's not the official sets we listed in episode 2. With my own crew, I made DFG. In my mind, DFG is off-brand because it's not Rockstar created. Anything that's not Rockstar created to me is off-brand. Whether it's DFG or Jamestown or whoever, it's all off-brand sets because you're not following. You can't claim a turf because you don't have designated turf in the Los Santos area. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at off-brand as, and that includes the video game, you know, the laptop bloods and the keyboard crips. You know what I'm saying? They all off-brands, even though they are IRL games. I mean, that's goofy in itself, but yeah, that's what I think of off-brand.
Off-brand, it's more of a diss than a label for anyone, because there's certain levels to off-brand. I mean,
so let me ask you, how do the off-brands affect the SGC then?
Well, the more off-brand you are, the less likely you are to abide by the street codes. You know, wearing a certain colour, shooting pistols instead of laser beams, lowriders with your crew colours. So someone who's an off-brand would, the closer you are to an official set, the more you know about the street codes, and the further away you are from, the more off-brand you are, the less likely you are to play legit, basically. So that's why the ballers tried to distance ourselves from off-brands, because we didn't want to encourage them. They can just play in their own off-brand world and shoot rockets at each other and get in insurgents blow each other up, running over. I want to say about running people over. That's legit SGC tactic. I know.
No, it ain't, man. No, it ain't.
What you got to remember is this is Grand Theft Auto, man. The car is one of the best weapons.
Well, you intentionally hit somebody with your car. That's not street game, bro. I'm sorry, John. I gotta disagree with you.
I didn't get annoyed, man, because when people used to do that to me, I did it a little bit myself, but when people did it to me, I didn't get annoyed because I realised I shouldn't be in the middle of the street, running down the middle of the street, shooting at people anyway. That's not realistic.
Bro,
so
people drive into the sidewalk just to hit you.
I think that's funny, man. I love the ragdoll physics when you go flying through the air and shit, and it's good video content, man.
It's funny when you get blown up too.
Yeah, but that's almost like terrorism, isn't it? That's like war stuff.
V-bed, huh? You know what a V-bed is?
A what?
When they driving their vehicles with their explosives on them, that's almost like getting ran over, man. Somebody come to you.
Yeah, I've seen that tactic. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, Rico, he used to when he would do his corner shooting with you, he would drop a sticky bomb on the wall that he was standing behind, and if you hit him a couple of times, he'd blow himself up with that sticky bomb, like.
But see, he wasn't in no off-brand crew though, too. So you said street game rules. A lot of the street games don't even follow street game rules. They play just like the off-brands. Rockets, sticky bombs by your feet, grenades and all of that, blowing yourself up, running away mid-fight, killing yourself. All of, official ballers and fams did the same shit.
Well, that's been influenced. They've been influenced by Offbrands because from the very beginning, people like E and Trap Money, they tried to set out the rules. I don't like to call it rules because nobody likes to be told what to do. I prefer to call it codes, street codes that you don't want to have to explain to people every time you fight them. And so we used to try and put it out there, like write up walls and stuff. These are the quote unquote rules. Like, I mean, we even had one rule where you weren't allowed to shoot at the opposition in daylight, stuff like that.
That's interesting, man, because, the street game community already had rules from, like, PlayStation, and it was basically ARs only. That was the only rule that you needed to use an AR or a pistol, or like you use like a Tech 9 or something, street guns. And that was the official rules on like PS3, Xbox 360. But the SGC been around from the beginning. That's 2013, you know what I'm saying? So those rules were in place before the people you name even got in the field, man.
So as for that off-brand pyramid, right, I'm just going to run through that and explain it. So let's say you got at the top of the pyramid, the least off-brand is Del Perro Ballers, because they're named after an official gang, which is Ballers, and they're named after an official street or place in Los Angeles, Del Perro. It's a nice place, Del Perro, man. A lot of people fought over that territory. And then on the second level of the pyramid, you got, say, only the families. Now, they're named after an official gang, families, so they're not totally off-brand, but they're still slightly off-brand because it's not an official family crew. Then level 3, you've got your likes of Jamestown and Mirror Park Bloods. So Mirror Park Bloods, they're named after Mirror Park, so they got a little bit of legitimacy, but they're also named after a real life gang, so that's off-brand. And level 4, you got Rolling 60 Crips and stuff like that, which is nothing to do with GTA at all. It's just a real life gang. And then the bottom is IGN, obviously. So I wanted to explain also why I didn't agree with fighting against real life gangs. I'm not saying they were real life gangsters. I'm saying their crews were named after real life gangs. Now, we've always refused to 1527 has always refused to engage these crews, even though they came after us all the time. And it was never explained exactly why. I know OYGlaylo, you refused to engage real life gangs, didn't you?
To an extent, because like I said, there was a time where ballers kind of disappeared a little bit, so you had to fight somebody. But I do agree with not fighting them in the tournament, though. The SGC, as far as the street gang community, man, I feel like it just need to be GTA games, point blank, period. And I know all the Offbrands get mad because you won't fight them, and I remember that. Like, there was a crew called Sewell Nation that we used to beef with on PS3 and PS4, and then you had what's his name?
What were they called?
You had Cypho, man. Shout out to Dark.
what
He
was
was
his
around
crew
for a
called?
long time. Who, Cypho?
Yeah.
I mean, he had multiple. It was like Dark Soul Nation or something like that. But he had multiple crews. Though.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, he was an off-brand, but he was like a main arrival to families and ballers. I mean, so, but it really was no point of like uploading them or nothing, because for my standpoint, like, nobody cared about an off-brand crew. There was Curbside Brotherhood. You remember Curbside? Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel Farigi.
Right. So my whole stance was, if you wasn't family, man, we wasn't trying to ally with you or nothing like that. That's always been my stance. Families only. I was never for all these alliances of outsiders. I made the exception for Curbside because other fams was already cool with them, and then I think they were cool with somebody else that. Yeah, and then the point when it came up was families had just finished doing a war. We had an internal wars like Davis versus Form and Chamberlain or something like that. And so it was, for me, it was just like, man, these dudes are off-brand, but it's gonna be. I didn't want to create more conflict. Like, we just ended beef like 2015 when we met up with Curbside. And in the end, I ended up beefing with Curbside anyway, but that was the only exception I ever made for like alliances. And then enemies, I would say respected enemy was an off-brand crew.
Who?
And that was Mirror Park Serenos. And I say that was my most respected because we never had to do any like the goofy back and forth conversation on social club. None of that. And we get in the session, they knew what it was, I knew what it was, and we shoot it out, man. And so I ended up earning their respect. They ended up earning mine, even though they was an off-brand. And I fought them. I enjoyed fighting them because they kind of filled the void of Aztecas, man. Aztecas really, with them both being Hispanic gangs, Aztecas never really, I don't think Aztecas had any effect on the FCC this entire time, man. I don't know if they just stayed in auto aim or what, but they really wasn't a factor in the street gang community.
The Serenos, I remember they were quite a bit big at one point, and they were deep. They're probably the biggest Latino gang that were around on the PS4, bigger than any Vago. Bigger than the Vagos. They were all over social club, man. They used to chat a lot on social club, like beefing with people. So.
Yeah, we had a few little conversations with them or back and forth, but for me, it was just mainly they kept it in the lobby, basically. For me,
my personal opinion on off-brands has changed. I don't consider any baller, fam, Vago, Azteca, or Marabunta as off-brand anymore, because I realise there's only 3 official baller gangs, and there's a lot of people who want to be ballers. So and a few of them want to run their own crew, and so if you've only got 3 official ballers to join, there's not many. So you want to make your own crew, and you're going to call it Davis Avenue Ballers or whatever.
Let me see if I make Rolling Heights Families or something goofy like that, right? That's still off-brand to me. Even though you're taking a part of one gang and you mixing with another, there's no such thing as Rolling Heights Families. You know what I mean? And yeah, you're trying to be a family, but a lot of those crews, they don't stick around that long. They be here for like a little bit and then they disappear, bro. So with the official sets, people usually you can rotate members The set is there to stay. It's permanent. Anybody can be Eastside Ballers. There's multiple ways you can make the crew. If you want to run your own Eastside Ballers, you can do that. Just because somebody else has it. No player made crew is official. So just because one person makes CGF, that don't mean you can't make CGF. Nobody can. You can't get two Rockstar sets. You know what I'm saying?
There's two, like, say, CGF crews who are competing for the name. They've basically got to fight it out, and yeah, one might be older than the other, but at the end of the day, it's whoever drives the other CGF out of the turf, isn't it? It's a matter of numbers and firepower.
You would think they would be smart enough to, like, and hopefully I get the Davis homie to come on here, because I'll explain. Like I said, I had a Davis crew, Offbrands. He had a Davis crew. And we came together, all the Davis families. We ended up, most of the time, it worked out to, like, hey, I got my own Davis crew, boom, and we was cool with each other. We were never on that, oh, you fake, let's fight, we got beef with y'all the fake version, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other two, I was kind of stuck in the middle, but we'll talk about that in another episode. But when you look at it on a grand scale, like, it's a player-made crew, so you're not, you know what I mean? The NPCs will shoot at you just like anybody else. Boom, that wraps up episode 3, Offbrands. If you're an off-brand or you disagree with being an off-brand, let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, stay tuned for episode 4, man. We're gonna be bringing in our first guest. Be doing guest episodes. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, you want to come up here and talk your shit, man, come do that. Just tap in with myself, Baller Jones, hit us up, PSN, Discord, whatever you got, man. Get in contact. You can even message down in the comments that you want to come on a podcast. You got to be on PS5 though.
In future, on the future podcasts, it's going to be strictly game related, law related. There'll be no personal information or discussions or anything like that. So.